Ladies and gentlemen, I'm RichTheMan and welcome to an unexpected 25th of August edition of Marvel Contest of Champions news. And let's jump in. So yes, I'm a little bit surprised as well that I'm doing another Marvel Contest of Champions news, being that I did one yesterday. But there are some stories that have broke that really need to be covered. From things relating to summoner appreciation not feeling very well appreciated, right the way through to a response by Kabam on the subject of the recent alliance controversy story in Wars. Our first story takes us to a post that was done by Otrux that shows data mined information about potentially next month's event, and in particular it being all about X-Men, which could be a very interesting kind of segue to something or nothing. At times, Kabam do put stuff in that is representing certain things with a story and a narrative to it, but it's hard to say from this information. But there are clear aspects. In particular, if it is indeed correct, then it does have things that say uncanny and also danger room. And obviously if you're a big fan of X-Men, you'll know that the danger room is, well, it's where all the danger is. So expect something with Sentinels to be in this event, and potentially 2 champions that hopefully will be mutant. Well, it's got to be mutant. It's a mutant event. Of course, we'd expect mutants, but we just don't know. My own thoughts and my own wants is Apocalypse or Mr. Sinister being added to this. Now there is 2 kind of heel characters, kind of villains essentially. Yeah, okay, that would be a bit of an ask, so it'll probably be a X-Man or X-Lady, and at the same time will probably be a villain of some sort, so expect one or the other, and expect an X-person of some variety. At this present time, we have no information to give you, as in like who we think, so we're just going down to speculation, and indeed, the poll that is currently running in the forum does represent a popularity vote on Apocalypse, and also following Mr. Sinister, but Omega Red is coming in strong there. So 2 mutant villains, potentially, but like I said, it's probably going to be an X-Man or X-Lady, or something that's going to be quite positive in the mutant line. I wonder if you did want to have your say on the subject, you can do in the comment section, or over in this forum poll and post, because people are putting their own suggestions of characters they want. From Blob to Emma Frost, loads of different champions are on the table for mutant champions. So unfortunately, yes, some appreciation event didn't go down quite so well, and the appreciation was less than seen. Even for myself, this was kind of odd. My own story of things, like I didn't kick up a fuss. I was pretty annoyed about it, but I was just like, man, I'll go do something else with my time, and I think I just completely forgot about it. I got on with my life and just went, oh, I'm going to ignore the game a little while. But the facts still remain that I was annoyed that I did not get until this morning. So probably about 9 AM GMT time that I was able to finally get my Summon Appreciation gift or choose it. A lot of players found they were not getting theirs, and I don't know whether or not they have to this very point got to choose their Summon Appreciation gift. It was just a litany of woes and errors from Kabam's part, like how this ended up being such a fail. And obviously we've got Dungeons that's been a bit of a fail at the same time. So yeah, they need to come back from this strong, because it's not been good. And even though Kabam Mike was saying, you know, and a lot of the kind of developers were saying, make sure that you reboot the app, close the app completely, and then go back in, it wasn't even fixing the problem. So I was like, man, ain't very good at all. This then prompted a very big discussion point on the subject of those Summoner Appreciation gift choices not being there. You can have your say if you are a little bit and still frustrated on the subject and find it a little bit annoying that the consistency wasn't there. In the link in the description, it'll take you to this forum post. Our next story, and I'm pretty certain this is representing the story we covered about a few days ago, which is about the whole, you know, one alliance, another top alliance, and people being kicked from the alliance. There's rumors about that being photoshopped. We covered it. You'll know about that. If not, go back a couple of days ago, start of the week, and that particular story is represented in that. But this seems like it is a response to that. It's not kind of like saying it is, but it looks like it is responding to that particular allegation of cheating through the means of kicking and other stuff. Adora's first point looks at special treatment within the game. I think I'm going to keep myself like tight-lipped on the subject, because then I'm just like putting in my own opinions. If you have been following the channel for a while, you'll know that I had some very off-the-cuff remarks when Season 2 ended, and certain things that were kind of found out. But, you know, watch old Marvel Contest of Champions news for that. But on the subject, I'm going to keep myself tight-lipped. But like I said, you know the score. Point 2 looks at the investigation side of things. Now, for all intents and purposes, how strong is the investigation? We've talked about the idea of VPN tunneling, masking, stuff with the IP address, lots of different ways that, you know, you couldn't get found out. And also you have to look at the fact that maybe there was account sharing in a lot of different aspects of top alliances. You know, it's what is to say that Joe Blogs, who started off in the very beginning, 2015, knows someone's password, someone's email address that their account is linked to from back in the day. Is there a shell account? There's a lot of things that I don't think would be represented and found out when it comes to an investigation. It's not always going to be completely on point. On the third point, the second point doesn't come up with any kind of in-game things or evidence, then you can't really do anything. It's like saying, oh yeah, I found out of game that you did this, and we're the game, we're the developer, so you know you're in trouble. Why? Because I did something out of the game that then made sure that we won in the game. Yeah, try proving that in a court of law. It's one of these things you just can't do it. The same thing with screenshots. They can be manipulated, and again, it's one of these things where you say you are in trouble because that screenshot shows that you were there at that time and you did that. Yeah, but that could have been altered. You've got like a 50% truth and 50% lie. You just do not know between the two if it is the case of it's true or false. This is then solidified, and what I just said was basically point 4. But it is used in some aspects to kind of prove different activity at different times. So if somebody logged in at 7 p.m. in, I don't know, say America, and then all of a sudden, boom, it was in another country, then you kind of go, right, well, that account and kind of like how that worked would be like, right, well, that's suspicious there. But they can't really use it as a kind of a point to accuse if they don't have the facts. And again, it goes back to that thing, like, is there ability? And I'm not saying there is or isn't, but is their ability to mask one's IP? At the same time, if you VPN tunnel, is it going to be a way of just looking like you're just a regular player in a normal place in the same time and place? Like say you're in Vancouver, Canada, and all of a sudden you've accounts that have origins in different time zones in different countries are then seen to be in those different countries, or is everything, you know, I'm not going to go too much into it because there's too much specifics, but I think people will kind of get the idea of what I'm saying is that will Kabam see somebody that is using something like VPN tunneling or some kind of masking type software? Is it going to be a case they're not going to ping up as being in the wrong, or they're running shell accounts? Kabam do highlight all the other aspects of, you know, what we've just said, and, you know, their length of investigation, and the fact that you shouldn't share your account with anybody, though I'm sure people will find a way around these whole subjects and, you know, use specifics like we just said to try and get more of a competitive edge when it comes to grinding out in the game. One other point to mention is that when there is multiple accounts in somebody's possession, and we talked about someone that had 11 accounts the other day and he got slapped for you know, he got a war adjustment. Now, whether or not, and again, this is unbiased, whether or not he was doing hacking, doing cheating, doing account sharing, and that was the thing that then pinged that up. Are there other people that are doing that as well and not getting found out? And maybe what they're using is something a bit more technical in order to not get found out, which Kabam's radar would not pick up. That is something I think is a hypothetical. One of these questions that you kind of go, you know, is that a thing? Weigh it up. Could be right, could be wrong. Other people affected, others aren't. What are they using? There's no special treatment. So are they using something that's kind of avoiding the whole punishment scheme? Don't know, but it's one of these things to put out there. We're going to end on a positive because I hate talking all the time about negative stuff. We're going to do this a regular thing as long as people keep uploading the memes to one specific place. And Kabam, what the hell were you thinking with agreeing to this? Because you just get trolled on the daily because of this. I am glad in some ways that you've allowed this, but you did open the floodgates up for people to kind of just, well, meme you. That's essentially it. So we're going to do this from time to time. See what has been added to it. So we've got one of the classics here. One does not simply remove a bug. One does not simply remove a bug. And then we've got a fantastic one here. We've got another. It's like the dungeons thing. It's like we put new content in. Dungeons don't work. We fixed the dungeons. Dungeons don't work. It's like, obviously it's a Gru thing. That's a terrible impression of Gru. But there you go. Yeah, if you could all feel appreciated, that'd be great. And yeah, obviously, the summoner appreciation, we do not feel appreciated. But there's so many fantastic memes that have been added. Mother flipping, it's Moss from IT Crowd. So that's cool. Types of headaches, and it's like MCOC forums. I don't think it's a headache. I think it's like it's a source of a lot of Marvel Contest Champions news. This one's good. It's like, I feel they could have done, and I don't know why they haven't done this, is done the Kingpin on a baby. Because I did this in MCOC Memes 3. You should watch that, Contest of Memes 3. And I may try and make Contest of Memes 4. But this I think could have been made better if they made Kingpin on a big head on a baby, and maybe put a smile face, or maybe a dummy in his mouth or something like that. I think that would be quite cool. But yeah, there's so many decent memes that are there. I'm not going to spoil it for you and show you them all. Go over and take a look for yourself. Link is in the description below. So that's been MCC News. If you did enjoy the news today, hit that like button and subscribe for more news of Marvel Contest of Champions variety, as well as Marvel Contest of Champions based content. I've got lots of decent stuff coming out over the weekend, some decent crystal openings. I've got as well a crystal opening. The footage is pretty good actually, and it's quite funny with my dad. There's about 6 minutes of it which I've kind of spliced up, and it's gonna be very, very funny. A kind of a review video on Rogue, and a few other videos as well in the pipeline for this bank holiday weekend. If you're in the UK, have a great bank holiday weekend. If you're worldwide, have a great day and a great weekend, whatever you're doing. I've been Rich the Man, and I shall catch you on the flip side. Bye bye for now.